Hey friends, it is day 3 of week 2, right? So let's talk a little bit about personal development and growth. Why is this in the prepare phase? Because we need to prepare ourselves to grow, right? Something along those lines. So first of all, it's really, really important to know and to understand about ourselves that we just aren't done yet. We are not complete. We are not finished. Who we are right now isn't who we're stuck being if we don't like it, right? And a lot of times too, if you're having a lot of problems with something, it's really good to kind of get introspective with it, because if you're having the same problems over and over again, or if you're finding yourself fighting with people over and over again, or if you're being rejected constantly by people, or if no one wants anything to do with you in certain areas, it's really good to get introspective and to figure out how you can make weak things strong, which we already talked about making weak things strong. But what about things that we can't see, right? So for me, personal growth began in my business pretty early on. It's really funny if you look at my Facebook memories, how negative I used to be before Scentsy, and how I realized that being that negative had a direct impact on how people wanted to respond to me. If you'll notice, if you're in like a group and there's a negative post, you'll get like 64 comments. If negativity is allowed, it will continue, right? And so if there's a post and people know that there's going to be these little nuggets of negativity that their endorphins and stuff can grab onto, they get those little highs from participating in the drama and the negativity and things like that. So if it's allowed to be there, you're going to notice like 64 comments on a negative post, and then somebody posting about how awesome something's going, and you'll see a comment or two or nothing, right? That was my Facebook before Scentsy, right? Super negative. I would get lots of reactions to negative posts, but then when I'd post something positive or about my business, crickets, right? What I found is when I stopped with the negative stuff, all they had left was the positive, right? So, and as I started sharing more authentic life experiences, I got more interaction as well. Just funny stories about my kids, or happy news that other people resonate with. Or as I started working my business and it got better, the trips you'd earn, the awards you'd earn, and starting to share those kinds of things. But I learned that I did better in my business and I felt better as a person when I stopped complaining so much. So that was like the first personal growth nugget for me, right? The second piece of personal growth that had to happen in my business was I had to stop trying to be everything for everyone. As we continue in a business that's growing, we cannot possibly have 100% 5-star reviews from every person we come into contact with. And I think we get really, really hung up in being the person with the right answers, and the person who can fix everyone's problems, and the person who's the first to answer the phone call when they get it, or the first person to respond to a message. And if we set the expectation that we're first to do all of those things, they come to us first instead of helping themselves. And that's its own cycle of helping them grow personally and things like that as well. So as we learn we can't be everything to everyone, and we stop showing up to every fight we are invited to be in, and arguing every time that somebody posts something we disagree with, if we keep showing up to all those things, we get really burnt out. We get really strung out. And what you reward gets repeated in every possible way. So if you are constantly super attentive to the people in your business that are dramatic, they will think you like it and they will keep bringing you the drama. But if you stop showing up when there's drama, they stop bringing you the drama, right? If somebody is extremely difficult for you to get along with, or has a really difficult personality, if you keep showing up to the confrontations they bring you, they're going to keep fighting you, and they're going to keep trying to get under your skin if they know that it works. And so I had to release a lot of control over how people felt about me. And that is still a work in progress. But if anybody was around year one, they know how much progress I made in that, right? Another thing, was not only being more positive, but complaining a lot less. I learned that it was going to be a lot easier in this business to move forward and to roll with the changes and to be the first in line to adapt to anything new. Is I had to learn how to trust better, and I had to be all in with Scentsy, and I had to choose Scentsy, and I had to say, I trust you, Scentsy. Even when I don't understand what's happening, I trust you. Because they can see the picture way up here, and we are just looking up at all these things happening. We don't always know where we fall in line with that. But from a track record standpoint of years of being in Scentsy, they've not once done something that damaged my business. They've never done something that was impossible to eventually adapt to. They are always doing their best to adjust and flow with what we need. And once I decided that no matter what got brought to the table from Scentsy, I was going to adapt to and push into my team and roll with and be an early adopter of, growth happened really fast. And I, as a person, was a lot less anxious as things would change and turn. Because if I just trusted them and I just knew and kept telling myself, hey, whatever they do, they're doing for the best of us. I may not see it now, but let's figure out how this goes well with our business and how can I adopt this? How can I move this into my business and just do it? Rip the Band-Aid off and get used to it, right? So that was another thing that helped with my personal growth process as well. It's learning to trust instead of being complaining about what they did or complaining about shipping, and just adopting a philosophy that if I can't fix it anyway, there's really no reason to have an opinion on it or to complain about it. Like, if it's nothing that the person I'm talking to can actually fix, I don't really have to complain about it because it's not going to do anything. It's only going to bring them down and put some negative energy into their life that they don't need, right? So for the sake of others, I tried to stop putting negative energy in their life by me complaining and things like that. Still, again, work in progress. But once I started being more aware of how often I was doing that and shutting it down before it came out, I realized that the relationships I had with my teammates, my mentors, my customers, my family, and things like that all started to improve as well. And so those are just some examples of how personal growth was big in my business early on and still is. Like, I'm never done learning. And I think it's really, really important that we are always constantly trying to learn. That's why I love reading books together like Girl Wash Your Face. And a personal favorite of mine is Everybody Always, and learning how to just love everyone, period. And putting yourself second and learning how to truly be a servant and things like that. And reading books that help the way that I see the world and relate to others is really huge for me in my business. Early on in Scentsy, watching training videos in the workstation were huge for me. Several a day, all the time. I wanted to watch them all. That was my goal. And that was huge for me as well because a lot of those little things about positivity and stuff were kind of buried in some of those. And it was like, honestly, at that point in my life was not a concept that I was familiar with. I didn't read The Secret when everyone was reading The Secret. I didn't really understand much about positive energy and our mindsets and how every single thing we think and say and do rewires pieces of our brain. So as we complain more and we do more negative things, our brain actually rewires itself to notice negativity more and to act more negative and to absorb more negative and to attract more negative things. And so I started like tinfoil hat trying to guard myself against those kinds of thoughts, because I was like, if I could commit to thinking positively and some mantras and things like that and was able to help rewire the way I thought about things, I wonder what would happen. And honestly, there's a lot of things in my life, not just Scentsy related, that are so much better because I started being so much more aware of what I was putting in here, letting come out of here, and just being really aware of that in my marriage, with my kids, with my friendships and things like that. And it really helped heal a lot of stuff. And so that was huge. That's why I love the book Mindset. It helps you with a lot of those kinds of things and learning that. And if you're really into the energy stuff, the book The Secret has a lot of that as well. And then somebody said to me within this past year, which helped bring a lot of it together, and this might be too hokey to some of you, and if it is, that's fine. We all have our own core beliefs, and for me, I really love relating things back to God, and anybody who knows me knows that. So if you don't know me very well, hello, that's me. Most people are used to me. So, and it's really interesting all the way back to the creation story, how God used energy and words to create and manifest. And then he created us in his image. So why shouldn't energy and words in our lives also create and manifest, right? And so when they said that to me, I was like, you're right. Energy is creation. Like, the energy of words and the energies around us and the auras and all of that is moving amongst everybody, and it creates and it manifests things and it attracts things, and it's just really interesting, allowing that to be a realization for me. And it may mean nothing to you. You might be like glossy-eyed, that's fine, but I just had to tell you about where my process of all of this ended up. And so for me that was huge, because I was like, oh my gosh, what things have I been creating with my words? Like, what kinds of things have I been attracting to myself? Because I wasn't being careful with the people I was surrounding myself, the things I was saying, the actions I was taking in my life. Like, and for some people, that's what karma is, right? Like, it's the same. It's all the same, right? And in almost every single religion of the world, there's some sort of energy, karma, something. So to have that woven into so many things in our lives and our cultures, it's interesting to start paying attention to those kinds of things and watching that happen in my life. So for me, and then I love science and things like that. So reading the Mindset book helped me bring that into another language where I'm like, double whammy. Here's more about what our minds do and how our minds can be reshaped and rewired and things like that. So personal growth for me in my business is one thing that I try to focus a lot on, and I'm not done, and I don't think any of us are done growing and learning and becoming our best versions of ourselves, because the only way that our businesses can be the best they can possibly be is when we are continuing to pursue the best of ourselves as well. And so I think it's really important that we practice a lot of self-care, and we do a lot to protect our minds, to protect our energy, and we surround ourselves with the right kind of people, and we have the right kinds of inputs, and we talk to the right people in our business, that we don't just go to the people near us that will complain and commiserate with us, but we go towards the people who will help problem solve and climb over mountains with us, right? It's so important to be more protective of those things. So for your homework today, that was a long video. For your homework today, I really want you to think about things that you can do right now to take better care of yourself and your mind as you continue into leadership. You're going to be so tested if you haven't already been. There's a lot of people that are going to come in and out of your organization, and we don't always get to pick who those people are. I mean, I can pick my frontline kind of, but then you guys will then recruit people, and then you guys recruit people, and then it keeps going into areas in which we might have a whole group of people that I'm not used to the personalities of, right? Like, or they are far enough away from me that I can't, it's very difficult for them to relate to anything I'm saying. So if I'm not helping train and train and train and train it, the positivity ladder doesn't always go all the way down. And so you have to get used to people coming in and out of your organization that are going to try to suck everything out of you. All your knowledge, all your energy. They want to see you down, not up, because misery loves company, and you're going to have to learn how to protect that early on. So in preparation for leadership, it's important to prepare your mind and prepare yourself for the kind of relationships you need to have in your business, and the ones that you should probably start weeding out. If you do tend to surround yourself with a lot of people who complain, or people who won't admit when they're wrong, or people who won't try to improve themselves, people who make a lot of excuses instead of finding solutions to problems, who won't take personal responsibility for the things that go wrong in their businesses, even if it was something that was really hard for them to control, but taking responsibility for what their plan B, plan C, plan D were going to be, and already having those things in place so that they could continue. Or, just learn. People who are committed to learning new ways of doing things and committed to improving themselves are the kind that you want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with as you continue in leadership, because you're going to have so many people coming in and out, and they're all going to try to take pieces of you, and they're all going to try to leave pieces of themselves. And some of them are fine, and most of them are fine, and most of them are wonderful, but you will every so often run into somebody that might be the opposite of who you are in every possible way, because anyone can buy a starter kit, right? And so we just have to be so protective of our minds, our hearts, our energies, our time, and things like that, and maintaining the right kinds of relationships, the right kinds of mindsets, and being really strong and committed to who we want to be, what we want our organization to look like, because so goes the leader, goes the team. And if you're not willing to adjust yourself and commit to a mind frame that's healthy, you're going to continue attracting the kind of people that are difficult for you to deal with, and then they're going to attract the same kind of people, and you're going to have a team full of people who are very, very difficult to deal with. And then you're going to wonder why you're not making numbers right, or why people are being turned into compliance so often, or why they don't want to listen to you, or why every time Cincy changes something, they jump ship. And so if you can set your mind right, and if you can commit to certain truths about yourself and your business, you're going to have a much easier time leading a team and attracting the right kinds of people that don't take a lot of your energy, because they're already going the same way as you. So I just want to hear below what you're going to do to commit to personal growth and self-care, and taking care of your mind, your body, your spirit, everything. And then also learning how to improve things about you that you might already know are confrontational. Do you tend to argue with people a lot? Do you tend to complain a lot? Do you have any unhealthy habits and things like that in your business? Do you make a lot of excuses? Do you tend to blame others? And just finding ways to try to start healing those things in your brain by committing to pursuing the opposite of them. But comment below, start a conversation about this. I would love to hear more about things that have helped you already in your journey to learn how to grow and to evolve your brain, and to strengthen your skill set, and to strengthen your mental health and things like that, at least of the things that we can control. But I want to hear from you, and I want to have this conversation with you guys. So leave it in the comments. Let me hear what you guys have to say about your own personal growth journeys and why you think you might understand the need for the commitment in the future. So today's just a conversation, no real homework, but let's have a conversation. Bye guys.